Does the law bring death? See, the question is where you are standing and how you are approaching the law. For example, the whole Psalms 119 talks about law bringing life. And even in Joshua 1, God tells Joshua, if you meditate on the law, and if it does not depart from your mouth, whatever you do shall prosper. And you find the same thing in Psalms 1. He who meditates in the law day and night shall prosper. And David says, I love the law, your commandments are life. But Paul, on the other hand, says, law brings death, and commandments which were supposed to bring me life brought death. So it's not the problem with the law per se, it's about how we are approaching it. David and Joshua, all these guys were relationally connected with God. They knew the heart of God, especially David. He really was in relationship with God. Therefore, those commandments brought him life. But Paul, he was not in relationship with God, but he was in religious duty. So the same law was bringing death to Paul or to anyone who are under religious duty, trying to perform, trying to earn brownie points with God, trying to prove their zeal before God by obeying the law. To such things, the law brings death. But whenever you are in relationship, these commandments are not demands. These commands are not demands, but these commands are divine empowerment. So if you are in relationship, everything brings life. Every portion of scripture can bring life to you when your relationship with the Father. That's how Jesus lived. For him, he really knew the why of the commandments. Therefore, he fulfilled the commandments like nobody else. So it is not really about does the law bring death or life. It is about are you in relationship. So if you are in relationship, every portion of scripture can bring you life. But if you're not in relationship, even the New Testament and the words of Jesus or epistles, anything for that matter, can bring you death. So it is the spirit of legalism that brings death, and it is the spirit of relationship that brings life. It is the knowledge of good and evil that brought death in the garden, and it is the knowledge of knowing the Father, which is the tree of life, which brings life. So the knowledge of good and evil, whenever it puffs you up and makes you religious, it brings death. But when you are in relationship and when you're on a relational journey of knowing the Father, that's what brings life. So we are always caught up in this wrong battle of law versus grace. I have seen many grace Pharisees who bring death upon people just because people are disagreeing with them. So it is not a question of law versus grace or 10 commandments versus Pauline epistles. It is really about the spirit of legalism versus the spirit of adoption, which is the spirit of sonship.